Hi, Achievers. Welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights. Hey, man, I'm Michael Hicks, the host with the most. I got to tell you, I'm excited about this podcast today because this started it all. About 3 years ago today, I'm coming up, 2 years, I should say. 2 years ago today, we genuinated a podcast about what I'm going to talk about today. And it's been the ability to be grateful and practice gratitude in the month of November. That was the old one. Go back. If you are a true avid listener, go back and listen to it. It's like episode 1 or 2 or 3. I'd have to exactly look. But before I get into today's topic, which I'm super excited about, unlock your true full potential, everybody, with the power of Live to Thrive life coaching. It is also mindset coaching, is empowerment coaching, it's mentorship for career, it's purposeful walk with your spiritual walk. Goodness gracious, I work and I help people so much, and when they get done with the program, it's unbelievable how much it transforms their life. However, you got to take the step, and the step starts with you, and it's one step at a time. Change can only occur, my friends, when you develop a habit. You've got all these other bad habits in your life. Why don't you create a habit that will truly affect and transform your life? So at Live to Thrive, you already know where I'm going with this. It's the power of small, consistent improvements. And what my unique framework really, truly focuses on, you guys, it's on becoming 1% better each day. And that's in the mind, the body, and the soul. What exactly do I offer? I kind of broke it down a little bit. I have programs that are anywhere from 90 days to 120 days. And what I really hone in on and I help you develop a growth mindset. Why is that so important? Because that's going to enhance your career. It's going to allow you to have a better relationship with your spouse. It's going to allow you to have a better relationship with your significant other, your kids. And you also have the ability to conquer challenges with confidence. The question I always ask, how much negativity is surrounding you? Because if you have a strong mindset, there's not much. Body. What do? I provide 3 published ebooks, and we are right around the corner with Thanksgiving. Not only that, I provide instant workouts sent to your phone, your handheld device, whether it's email, whether it's text. And in fact, I just had a client that recently had some back issues, so I had to change up the entire programming. So still making progress, but knowing how to make that progress. Not only with the body portion of my program, you're going to be able to embrace a healthy lifestyle where you're going to be able to boost your energy levels and achieve those specific fitness goals that you've been longing for. Maybe you've got little grandkids that you want to be part of. Maybe you want to run that half marathon. Whatever it might be, the body portion of Live to Thrive is an outstanding opportunity for you to embrace that healthy lifestyle. And lastly, soul, but certainly not the most least important, right? Here's where I help you discover your true purpose. So many people struggle with anxiety, stress, overwhelmingness, overthinking. I allow you to cultivate what I call an inner peace. And it helps you live a more fulfilling, balanced life. And as a dedicated life coach with nearly 25 years of experience, I will guide you on a journey of personal excellence, helping you overcome obstacles and reach for new heights. Together, we'll create a customized plan that will be tailored for your unique needs and aspirations. So don't waste any more time today. And right now, if you are hearing this podcast episode, you will receive 30% off my Black Friday special. I said I don't do this very often. It comes only once or twice a year that I do this, if at all, ever. 30% off retail price. All you need to do is send an email or go to any one of my personal social media pages and type in "I'm in" the DMs, and you'll receive 30% off. So join the Live to Thrive today to live a purposeful life. And how you can get there is by simply going to www.livetothrive.com to schedule a free consultation, or you can go to my Instagram page where it gives you a direct link where you can set up that free consultation. Are you ready to unlock and get better sleep, y'all? Like truly. Like, are you struggling with like falling asleep? Maybe it's aches and pains. Well, the company that sponsors this podcast has a CBD oil, which is Amish tested, and you can get 50% off the retail price at checkout by using the code New Heights. And I repeat, it's New Heights, cap locks. And when you do that, you'll unlock better sleep. You'll get rid of those aches and pains. It has been truly a game changer as we age, and it's Amish tested, which is honestly probably the best on the market. So if you're really ready to make that commitment and then change, no obligation, check it out. CBD oil, better sleep, get rid of those aches and pains. All right, y'all, are you ready to go in? Let's go. Let's go. First of all, it is November. What a beautiful time of the year to really, I'm going to begin before I tell you the name of the podcast title today. What are we practicing? It's November. What do we practice? We practice gratitude, right? Gratitude is monumental for so many things in our life. Gratitude really enhances our way of thinking. And thus the podcast title for today, and which really has stemmed, it's been the kind of the catalyst for this podcast, is the seven things to be grateful for this wonderful November. In November, it's really a time to pause. And maybe you're going to catch this podcast later. Whatever month you're in, I really want you to hone in and really take time to pause. Take time to reflect. Take time to recognize the gifts in our daily lives. Just before I jump down this podcast, I pray. And sometimes I pray with my significant other. Sometimes I pray with my family. Well, not sometimes. Often we pray together as family at the table, when we go to bed, etc. However, I just took the moment in time today, and what I did is I prayed. And when I pray, I kneel. And sometimes I get low, and sometimes I get emotional. Sometimes tears fall down my face because I know the power of prayer. And this is not a religious tangent by any means, but I want to tell you, if you're really truly struggling with your purpose, when was the last time you had the ability to recognize the gifts that are in your lives? I was listening to church. I did online church this past weekend. The pastor talked about, I forgot exactly the statistic, but it's like, if you have a house, if you have a car, you're like top 85% wealthy people in the world. And think about that. We're at a time and age where we talk about the grocery bill. We talk about the gas prices. We talk about how much eggs are. However, it's so easy. And this is why I do what I do. The mindsets, it's so easy to go off and think about all the hardest stuff we've done, right? The tough times. Well, in today's podcast, I really hope that you can be still, because I'm going to be sharing seven things that we all can be grateful for this season as we are getting into the holiday season, right? And how each of them can really shape our life and shape it in a sense of building strength, building fortitude, building resilience, and ultimately creating that fulfillment that you've been longing for, right? And I'm going in. Here's the first topic today. It's gratitude, y'all. Gratitude. What does gratitude mean to you? Gratitude can mean so many things to so many different people. It's being able to say thank you. It's being able to say, I appreciate you. It's the ability to really take a moment, just a small moment, and feel what you are so blessed with. Look around for a second. I'm in my studio right now and I'm looking around and I see my Live to Thrive emblem, my logo over there. I see my Framing New Heights podcast logo over there. I see these beautiful caricatures of when my daughter and I went to events, how this artist drew like those bubblehead characters. I see two beautiful things over there. And then over in the corner is kind of like a shrine. And that shrine, I got my mom's pictures over there, my great grandpa's picture over there. On Mother's Day, years ago when I was growing up, I got my mom a 24 karat rose. It's over there. I've got the flag of my great grandfather when he was in the military over there. And I also have my mom's urn over there. And I'm very grateful for that little area. And it really embarks a feeling of goodness. And I recognize that, of how my mom as a single mom raised me without a father. So I look around and I take the time just to say thank you. Have you ever just had a time where you're driving? I do a lot of praying when I'm driving too, and you just say thank you, God. Thank you. Like, I am so blessed in so many aspects of my life, and I'm so grateful. I have a healthy daughter. I have a beautiful significant other. I have a great family that welcomes me now and loves me and takes care of me. I've got a beautiful home where I live in. I got a great car. I've got a motorcycle. Like, there are so many beautiful things. And the other thing about gratitude is I get the ability to move my body. I get the ability to pray. I get the ability to look outside when it rains and appreciate the fact that it's raining. I get the ability to think about all of my friends that are in my life, the beauty, the impact that they have helped me and shaped me in all aspects and all durations of times in my lifetime, the nature of it. And even though we have these challenging times, my high achievers, gratitude gives us strength. And here's how it gives us strength. It gives us strength by reminding us of the positive energy that flows throughout our lives. And truly, and I'm going to give you an application piece here. If you just monitor this for the next few weeks or for the next week, whenever you listen to this podcast, write down 5 things each day that you are grateful for. And then at the end of the week, reflect on it. And what that does, it trains ourselves to really focus on what's good in our life. And then what is the most beautiful thing out of all of the things that of gratitude brings? It opens doors to help you feel more fulfilled. And then like the cherry on top, so to speak, it's the resilience that you then build on the outlook of life. What are you grateful for? How are you practicing gratitude this month? And if you're listening to this in November, find some time to really hone in on that and really be grateful for the things. And I'm on this mission this month to send one gratitude text to someone every single day this month, thanking them for the impact that they have on my life and why I'm so grateful for them. Maybe that's something you got to do. Maybe it's just a random thing you do. Just, hey, I'm going to send out a couple gratitude texts. Maybe that works. I want to go into my next point here. Again, remember, the topic for today are 7 things to be grateful for in the month of November. This one is big because this one was fairly, I knew this having a relationship with Jesus Christ. I knew this, but it's important to hear a sermon on this. And it all stemmed from a sermon that I heard. And the term that it's called, or the next talking point, is grace. When was the last time you were open to grace? Grace allows us to move through life with kindness, especially to ourselves. I often say this to most of my clients is give yourself grace. It's okay. 2 words that are very powerful. It's okay. Grace also helps us move through life with forgiveness. Grace also helps us move through life with compassion, especially with our interactions with others. And here's the greatest thing about grace. It allows you to let go of perfectionism. I said it here on Framing New Heights. You truly say that you're a perfectionist, it's the worst trait that you could humanly have because you are not open to grace. And the ability to have grace is letting go of perfectionism, and showing ourselves and others more understanding. Watch a professional basketball game. Watch a professional sport. They're professional athletes. There are mistakes that happen all the time. A missed block, a blocked field goal, a turnover on the basketball court, a foul. A foul is a mistake because you're out of defensive position. It's a mistake. There's no such thing as perfectionism in this world. Are you struggling with perfectionism? And that's why it creates stress, because you have not allowed the time to really let grace set in. Because grace really helps us accept our own humanity. And not only us, but others as well. And when it does that, it allows us to create space for growth. I said it. And when you can create space for growth, man, you start living life. You went from the passenger seat to the driver's seat. You were seeing black and white, but now you see vibrant colors. Because when we are open to grace, it creates space for growth. It allows for more learning to take place. Please never say to yourself, I'm too stupid. I don't need to learn that anymore. When you stop learning, you stop living. And not only that, not only does grace help us with creating space for growth and learning, but it also helps us create space for connection. Let me explain. So many beautiful things happened during a sermon, and I reference a lot because a lot of what these pastors talk about, I bring into light with my life coaching. And I was open to grace, and I said the prayer. I said, God, just let me be open to grace this week. Every single day, I was blessed beyond measure. Beyond measure. And one of those things was going to a grocery store that I never really shop at. And I don't know why I was at that store, but I was at the store. And I'm not going to name any names for the simple fact of I don't even know why. But let's just say the store, and I'm in shopping, and I got a nice full cart. And some of you heard this on a reel, and I'm ready to check out. And I've got lots of stuff, probably close to $300 worth of items in my grocery cart. And mind you, that week I was open for grace. I prayed for grace. And out of nowhere, this lady comes up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna get your groceries today." Well, I was like, "What? Like what?" And when we hear these things, it's like when we hear good things, isn't that so easy for us to be like, "Wait, hold on, something's wrong, something's not right," right? Like it's so easy to know, well, oh, that person did something wrong, so that's just like normal, right? But when we hear something new, or I should say positive, we're kind of like, it doesn't seem right, right? Because we live in this society, right? So anyway, we get to the checkout. She's like, "Yep, I'm gonna put my items on top of it." And I was like, are you sure?" I go, "Can I just ask why you're doing this?" And she stopped. She's like, "Because I'm gonna bless you, and because I'm a traveling nurse, and I make a lot of money." I was like, "Wow." I go, can I get your name?" She's like, "No, it's okay." So rings up the bell. It's like the bill was like $324. It was raining that day, similar to the day that we're having right now. And I get in the car, and I had to record this. It was on a reel, and I recorded it, and it was emotional, because I usually do that for other people. However, because I was open to grace, it came back to me. These are true stories. Grace is such a beautiful opportunity for compassion, for kindness, for openness, for love. So, the application piece. How are you going to be open to grace? Maybe this week. How are you going to have kindness move through you? How are you going to have forgiveness move through you? How are you going to have compassion with interactions with others? I heard something. This was really interesting, because I think if you're truly open to grace, little things don't bother you. You hear what I'm saying? Like they don't bother you, because you have the ability to let go, because you have a better understanding. So grace was a big one for me, because it allows me to accept my own humanity, and it allows me to. I learned a lot from that situation that I shared, that story, is keep blessing other people when you can. Bless them. If you see someone at the store and maybe they got 2 or 3 items, bless them. Create a connection. When you're at the grocery store, talk to someone. Maybe there's a cart standing there. Maybe there's just these random two, what do you call those, carrying carts, just sitting there. Pick them up, go put them away. I don't need to do that. Nope, you don't need to do that. But if you're open to grace, you will. If you want to open your life to kindness, you will. If you're compassionate, you will. If you want to have positive interactions with others, you will. Embrace grace, y'all. Embrace grace. All right. My next talking point, number 3. This is a big one. And I just stumbled on this recently. So I'm going to work with you a little bit on this, because this is something that I'm working on as well. And here it is. It's spiritual discipline. Does anybody, first of all, know what spiritual discipline is? Like, I have the discipline to get up in the morning. Like tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up early, probably close to 5:45, and I'm going to go hit the gym before I start my day. It's discipline. It's not motivation. Motivation runs out. Please stop saying, I'm going to wait till New Year's. Why do so many of y'all wait till New Year's? Excuse me. Why? You truly don't understand. It's not like we have this fortitude of years that just allow us to live forever. Back on track, Michael. Spiritual discipline. Spiritual discipline is for an example, here's my spiritual discipline. I made a personal goal this month I have the Bible app to read a Bible passage each day. Okay. My church has this thing called SOAP. I forgot what the acronym stands for, but it's basically a scripture sent each day to your phone. It's through an app, and you read it, you digest it, you marinate it, you reflect on it. So I've done that. And spiritual discipline can be very hard because you can even start spiritual discipline, y'all, with just prayer, which maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's meditation, being still. It's a hard one for me to do, but maybe it's being still. Or maybe it's personal reflection of your spiritual discipline. Because why I think this is so important for this 7 important pieces that I talked about on earlier on the title is it keeps us grounded and connected with our sense of purpose beyond just ourselves. Yeah, beyond ourselves. And I'm telling you, when you can know that your purpose is bigger than you're going to be able to feel, 1, more connected. 2, you're going to feel better. And what happens is with spiritual discipline, y'all, when we can use spiritual discipline, and maybe you need to start small, right? Maybe it's just 5 minutes a day. Maybe it's 2 minutes a day. Maybe it's just 1. Okay. What's really cool is my app kind of sends me a reminder of, oh yeah, you gotta read your Bible passage, or don't break your streak. So it does that. And when we have regular practice of spiritual discipline, what it does is it cultivates our peace. And how many of you have like this cloudy vision of stuff? Like, gosh, I don't know. How many always say the word, I don't know, maybe. I'm uncertain. Well, with spiritual clarity, let's just say prayer for an example. You pray about it. God may not answer it. He may answer it. But at the end of the day, my spiritual discipline is I'm still focused and believing in his word and who he is. Okay. So when we have regular practice, it cultivates, again, a sense of calmness, peace in our heart, and clarity. And then why that's so important, here's the application piece, is because when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade out of it. In other words, the challenges that you face, you're calm. You have a centered approach. And then with spiritual discipline, it reminds us to slow down. How many of you always hear this? Oh, I struggle hearing this all the time. And as a life coach, I'm too busy. I don't got enough time. 1, you do have enough time. Elon Musk has the same amount of hours as you. Oprah Winfrey, whether you like her or you don't, has the same amount of hours as you. So it's not you don't have enough time. It's the fact that you don't know how to time manage. And if you truly want to get better with that, go to www.livethethrive.com. Email me. I've got a free template that I can send out to you. All right. If that doesn't help, we should talk. So it reminds us to really slow down, stay present, right? That's a big piece too, is how many of you can honestly be present where your feet are in your situation, wherever it might be. I know it's hard, but be present, and spiritual discipline helps with that. And what's also important about spiritual discipline, you have a trust, you have a faith in something that's bigger than ourselves, right? And what a great feeling that is. Yes, is it faith? 100%. I'm just going to tell you, you cannot tell me that we are just random humans that came from nowhere without a God, without an Omega. You know what I mean? An Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. So that's why I pick spiritual discipline. All right, let me get into talking point number 4. So talking point number 4, again, going back to the original topic, remember what I talked about, 7 things to be grateful for this November, which kind of set a lot of reason why I'm here today, is positivity through practice. How many of you like, Michael, you're preaching, talk to me, goose? Anybody get that reference? Anybody get that reference? Those on Top Gun. Now, I want to be really clear here. Positivity doesn't always come naturally, y'all. How many of you have been like through some difficult times? I reach out to clients talk to me, or let me say that again. I have clients, I have potential clients, I have clients that I DM, but man, some of the stuff that they reach out to when they talk to me about it, it's positivity through practice, right? You can have done all of these ugly things in the past, which brings you to something really beautiful and positive in your life. And it came naturally. That's positivity through practice. And this is also a habit. Like the practice piece, we got to develop a habit to see the good. How do you, when you wake up in the morning, what is your habit to see good? I got words that I say, I am statements right away, and I thank God for everything that he gives me and my ability to move my body early in the morning. Usually is that when I work out. I think that's the best time. But developing a habit, and when you develop that habit, which is full of positivity, you're going to begin to see more good. So do a reference check on your life. How much good is in your life? Or is it negative? I often talk about this. People that spew negativity are in the negativity. I almost say like they're in the shit storm. They smell it, they feel it, and they're throwing the shit back at you. But you have the natural ability to have positivity through practice, and you smell the shit. The negative people, they don't smell it. They're used to it. It's in their clothes, it's on their shoes. And through these daily reminders and affirmations and I talk about affirmations often in this podcast. Instead of saying, I'll give you an example. Oh man, I can't do that. That's not positivity through practice. Positivity through practice would be like, yeah, I'm struggling with that right now. However, I'm not there yet. Even when it rolls off my tongue, it just feels better. Because learn how to reframe your words. Subconscious is critical. That's why me being the mindset coach that I am, again, www.livetothrive.com, is I help guide you to cultivate a more positive outlook. And when you can learn, that does not happen overnight, y'all. You're not going to be able to like snap your fingers. I'm going to journal and I'm going to say these affirmations and I'm just going to have more positivity in my life. It's not how it works. It takes work. Just like physically, as we age or as we're working out, like it takes discipline to work out, right? And there's positivity that comes through. There's a change in body features. You feel good. You look good. You're more confident. You have more self-esteem, right? So that's a positive outlook. You have to have that same positive outlook by setting daily reminders, building affirmations, and learning how to reframe a terrible situation into a good situation. And when you're able to practice positivity, y'all, this is a big one. You build resilience. And then when you're constantly building resilience over and over and over, that ends up being a term called anti-fragility, where, man, there's nothing that can weigh you down because you have a sense of optimism. You have a sense of hope. You have a sense of love, of positivity, a euphoria in this life that, you know what, there's no stopping. And that creates a positive habit through practice. So when was the last time you saw the cup half full and not half empty? When was the last time you have a sense of optimism? When was the last time you had a sense of hope? No matter life's ups and downs, and life's going to be a roller coaster. We kind of get tested in our lifetime, right? So many, Michael, you don't understand. I got all this positivity through practice, allowing ourselves to handle life's ups and downs with a sense of optimism and hope. So when is going to be the next time you are going to see that cup half full? I want to go in on my next point, and that's a big one. It's really, really, really a big one, and it's forgiveness. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. First and foremost, you have to learn to forgive yourself first. And if you don't know how to forgive yourself first, there's no way anything else is going to work. Because forgiveness really frees us from resentment. And what it does, it allows us to move forward with a lighter heart, not a burdened heart, not a heavy heart. And you'll stop holding on to grudges. And what do the grudges do, y'all? They weigh us down. And then you lash out. You know, and forgiveness, excuse me, forgiveness is not necessarily for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. Because what forgiveness does, it allows you to open a door of peace and reconciliation. And when you do that, and I'll give you an example. I had a long-term friend. Oh my goodness, he was there for when my mom passed away. He was my college roommate. We were like ride or die. We were like peanut butter and jelly. Well, we had a falling out over some misunderstanding. The misunderstanding involved my daughter's crib. They were so beautiful and nice that they bought a crib for me when Nola was young. And to this day, our friendship's not the same. Man, I would hang out with him all the time. Like weekends didn't matter. Sometimes even weekdays, went to plays, holiday shows, all that stuff. And it hurt. But one thing I did was I forgave him. And even though our Friendship will never be probably the same. Maybe it will. Maybe someday. Who knows? I don't know. I'm optimistic, right? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. However, the ability to forgive others is like forgiving ourselves and allowing us to embrace that. And what it does, it allows us to let go of things, right? It allows us to let go of our past and then really hone in on the present. And that was a tough time for me. It's a tough time because, man, he was like my best friend in all areas of my life. And then all of a sudden I was just ripped away over something so silly and foolish. But you really learn how to forgive. And when you can learn how to forgive, that peace that you want will come into play. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, y'all. Number 6, contentment and self-awareness. Ooh, this is a good one. I like this one. All right. So let me say this. Let me talk about contentment first. So contentment is about finding peace where you are instead of constantly striving for the next thing, right? Okay, so we got that out there right away. There's self-awareness, which then helps us understand our needs, okay, our desires, and here's the big one, our limits, right? How you talk to someone, how you treat someone. And when you put those two together, they empower us to make choices that honor who we truly are. Like it's your value system, it's your belief and value system. What's important to you? And when you can practice contentment and self awareness together, woo, doggy, it allows us to experience joy and be present in that moment. And then what that does, it helps us feel more alive. It helps us feel more balanced and fulfilled. And gosh, y'all, there's so many uncertainties in our life, right? We may feel threatened regarding some ability to control some things. That's huge, right? Because my goodness, we had the nation was in uproar over the election because of uncertainties, right? And that's a whole new different conversation. I don't let politics dictate who I am. I'm still going to sleep at the end of the night, right? But back on track here. So, due to the many uncertainties of our life, we sometimes feel like threatened, right? And when we feel threatened, that's our inability then to control things. So, what do? Is we prefer then to gravitate towards things that we feel more confident about, right? What do you feel confident about? Why do most men just talk about sports? Or they even go on the realm of talking about politics? Because that's what they feel confident in. Don't ask them about their feelings. Oh my goodness. You're going to get shot down right away. Now, here's the thing. However, when the need for control manifests in itself in different ways, it can reveal itself through the desire for clarity regarding decisions we are about to make, and then exhibiting overconfidence and the illusion that we process more influence over outcomes than in this particular case. So let me break this down. That was probably a lot, and you're probably like, Michael, what are you talking about? Okay, I'm gonna get there. Just stick with me. So being in control feels good, right? Like, oh my gosh, I have to control everything because what it does, it enhances my happiness. But oh my goodness, if it doesn't, I'm in trouble. And what also does when you're in the sense of control, it gives us a sense of personal autonomy, right? And not under someone else's control. You guys with me so far? Or everybody with me so far? So when was the last time? What is something you can truly control in your life? Can you control the traffic? Nope. Can you control when you're going to die? Nope. Can you control another co-parent and your divorce? Nope. You know one thing you can control? Your healthy lifestyle, eating right, And when you eat right, you can sleep better. We just did a wine party, and I don't drink wine. I don't drink often anything really at all. Well, I had some wine, and that was not a good night's rest. I didn't eat right. Too much sugar, right? So what I want to say is when we seek now don't get me wrong. I think to some degree seeking control is a good thing, but being too controlling isn't. You know, when we can exercise control by either being overly controlling of others or seeking control over their external environment, I think exerting excessive control over others really diminishes happiness due to our inherent need for independence. And people usually prefer managing their own choices. So being controlled by someone else's undermines their sense of self-governance. Does that make sense? And not only that, when we have a controlling demeanor, it's often a result of, how can I say this, irrational or discontentment. Mainly others don't like act according to our expectations. So we're going to maybe act out a certain way. And then what happens is then excessive control over others impairs our decision making capabilities because our emotion is at a different state. And then what that does, it alienates us from those who might disagree, leaving us encircled by the quote unquote yes person. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. So, and then when we keep going here, when you attempt to dominate any external uh, environments, you are basically dictating the outcomes and events in one's particular life. Okay. And what this does, it reduces our happiness levels. And here's why. It puts us in a position where we feel that we have to sacrifice other things that make us happy for that outcome. I'll give you a prime example. I was just recently talking to someone, newly dating, 5 months in the picture. She wants to he's been, now mind you, let me give you the scenario. She's been married and divorced, and he's been married and divorced 2 times, and he doesn't want to get married again. She does. He's like, well, I feel guilty though. I feel guilty if I don't give her what she wants. That when we begin to sacrifice our own needs and own wants, your outcome is going to be the same as it was in the past. And then my conversation with him was, what did you learn from those situations? What is something that you need to do that maybe you guys can come to a compromise? And so going back to this controlling piece, being overly controlling of results is a setup of disappointment because life is so uncertain, right? There's, again, certain things we can control, certain things we can't. For that situation, that story, if I was his coach and I was teaching him, or not teaching him, that's a bad word to say, I was coaching him, my question would be is, why are your values not being heard? Then he's going to say, well, hers are not being heard. Well, then what's the compromise? Because when you got to be careful in that situation, because to mitigate that, maybe it's a ring, right? I got a ring. Here's a nice ring. And then when you give them that ring, that's a sense of a commitment, right? Maybe that's what they need. I don't know. And when we have the desire for control, or when we can lessen the ability for control and learn to appreciate things rather than avoid them, and because what'll happen is, to have internal control, I'm just going to say this, you got to take responsibility for your happiness. What is your happiness? That's where it stems from. All right, my last and final point here. And this is probably one of the most important ones, health. I chose health. And health is something that, gosh, we take for granted until it's compromised, right? If you were to ask anyone, I disagree on this because I had someone that I talked to at the gym and I said, well, hey, if you had $1,000,000, would you take it today? He's like, oh yeah, of course. And then I said, well, if you had $1,000,000, would you take it today, but then you couldn't live tomorrow? He's like, yeah, of course. I was like, whoa, that. So I cannot say that, but for most people, health is more important than wealth, and I think health is a sign of wealth. And when you're grateful for our physical and mental, and our minds and our bodies are very collectively in tune for one another. When we say things badly about ourselves or we talk badly about ourselves, it's a resemblance of our health. And when we can truly remember that honoring your body and your mind, and you can do this, y'all, through exercise, you can do this through rest, you can do this through mindful eating. One big hint I will give you all for the holidays here: shoot a plate. When you're doing your plates, 70% protein, 70%, and indulge in that pumpkin pie or that apple pie. I just want to say though that this, you guys, health is a precious foundation that enables us to live fully and thrive. Never take advantage of your health. So many of you are you're thinking, oh, I got to get back on the train. I got to lose some weight. Great. What are you going to do? Getting a membership at the gym is not good enough. You will quit. 73% of people that get gym memberships in New Year's quit. You know why? Because they don't have a plan. If you are going to get a membership, get a coach. You can plug me and I can help you be your online coach. I've got many successful stories of people that I've helped. You can lose 20 pounds in almost 90 days. That's if you want it. Do you want it? So the question I have for you is health important to you? Or are you going to allow it to be just okay until it's compromised? And then it's too late. It's too late. All right. Thank you all for listening. This is my closing for today. As we embrace the month of November, let's really hold on to those 7 aspects that I really talked about. I truly felt really close in my heart, right? We had gratitude, we had grace, we had spiritual discipline, we had positivity, forgiveness, contentment, and least but not least important is the health. Be grateful for all of them, because I believe that there are true guiding principles that can truly frame our lives with fulfillment, with balance, with meaning, and building resilience over and over to get you that anti-fragility, right? So here's my call to action to all of you. My application piece before I leave you today is I encourage you to choose one of these areas that I talked about today on the podcast on Framing New Heights, and take a few minutes each day to acknowledge the gifts in your beautiful life. There's no one like you in this entire world. And then find the gratitude piece, because that's going to help you become, or that will help you become a very powerful force. And that powerful force will elevate you to joy, inspiration, and purpose in everything that you do. Until next time, my high achievers, 1% better in mind, body, and soul, and always stay flexed.